A cordial greeting. Today is Friday, September 26, 2025. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. At the time of recording this video, it is 8 o'clock in the morning in the Caribbean and the southeastern United States, where we continue closely monitoring the evolution of Invest 94, which will soon strengthen into a tropical depression and eventually into Tropical Storm Imelda as it moves across the Bahamas. In addition, we are observing the movement of what is now Hurricane Humberto, which has begun to intensify a little faster than anticipated and is now forecast to strengthen into a powerful Category 4 hurricane as it passes south of Bermuda. So over the weekend we will have two tropical cyclones in the southwestern Atlantic, and because of the proximity of both circulations, some type of interaction may occur between them, which complicates the track forecast a bit. In today's video, we will talk about the changes that have emerged in the projections, as well as the expected rainfall totals over the coming days across the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Bahamas. And although Hurricane Humberto is projected to remain over open waters of the Atlantic without directly impacting Bermuda, the scenario is different for Invest 94, which is projected to move over some states in the southeastern United States. Let's briefly talk about the forecast for Hurricane Humberto. You can see that the intensity models, the vast majority of them, already project a Category 3 or Category 4 hurricane in about 3 days, while the track projections continue to show a generally westward movement over the next 2 days and then a turn toward the northwest and north. In the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center, the forecast is for Humberto to already be a Category 3 hurricane by Saturday afternoon, and to continue strengthening over the weekend, potentially reaching Category 4 between Sunday and Monday before moving west of Bermuda. However, Bermuda remains within the cone of uncertainty, so they must continue to monitor its progress. Now let's talk about Invest 94. Which will strengthen into future Tropical Storm Imelda. This disturbance brought heavy rains over Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, and yesterday across much of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, where rainfall is expected to continue today. In addition, the area of unsettled weather is beginning to move over parts of eastern Cuba, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the southern Bahamas. For now, the system is disorganized, mainly due to its land interaction over the Dominican Republic and Haiti, but the circulation center is already over Atlantic waters. And from here on, it should begin a cyclonic organization process until it strengthens into a tropical depression. In fact, at 8 o'clock this morning, the National Hurricane Center increased the development chances to 80% within the next 48 hours and maintains a 90% probability within the next 5 days. In my opinion, I think it would be prudent for this system to already be designated a potential tropical cyclone so that tropical storm watches or warnings can be issued for parts of the Bahamas. We will be watching closely to see what the National Hurricane Center decides. In terms of track, there is quite a bit of consensus, at least for the next 4 days, that it will have a generally northward movement, crossing over the central and northern Bahamas. Although with more uncertainty in about 5 to 6 days, most models show a track eventually bringing the circulation center into South Carolina. However, there is also a scenario in which it could turn just before making landfall, and this has to do with the interaction that future Tropical Storm Imelda will have with Hurricane Humberto. In fact, there is the possibility of a Fujiwara effect, in which both circulations rotate around a common center. In terms of intensity, you can see that the specialized models have Invest 94 strengthening into a strong tropical storm, and some of them even show a Category 1 hurricane just before moving into the United States. So we cannot rule out the possibility that it becomes a hurricane and impacts areas between North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. For now, it seems that it will remain east of Florida without causing direct impacts. However, it is important that residents along Florida's east coast remain alert to its progress. Let's look at the latest projections from the global models. Beginning with the American model, by Saturday night, it already shows the development of a tropical storm over the Bahamas, and this is why I believe it should be classified as potential tropical cyclone 9. Meanwhile, Hurricane Humberto continues strengthening north and northeast of the Lesser Antilles. Then, by early next week, the American model strengthens future Tropical Storm Imelda, possibly into a Category 1 hurricane, making landfall in South Carolina Monday night, while Humberto tracks just west of Bermuda. On the other hand, the European model shows a very similar forecast, strengthening Humberto into a Category 4 hurricane and future Tropical Storm Imelda reaching South Carolina between Tuesday and Thursday, potentially as a Category 1 hurricane. So the two top models agree that it will eventually pose a threat to South Carolina and Georgia. However, there is also a scenario in which this system could remain just east of the U.S. coast, but this will depend on what happens with its interaction with Hurricane Humberto. In fact, that is the scenario shown by the German model, in which between Monday and Tuesday the circulation turns southeast and east, moving away from the U.S. coast. And although there still exists that scenario where it could avoid landfall, the most likely scenario continues to be that it makes landfall. The European AI-based model even shows a scenario where the circulation does not make landfall in the United States and instead tracks parallel to the coast. So there is still some uncertainty, and we must continue to watch how projections evolve. In the short term, heavy rainfall is expected today across southern Dominican Republic and Haiti, where up to an additional 75 millimeters may fall today. Over eastern Cuba, totals between 75 and 100 millimeters are possible. And for the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Bahamas, maximum rainfall totals could exceed 275 millimeters. For the Bahamas, the heaviest rain will be Saturday and Sunday. And since we anticipate the formation of a tropical storm this weekend, I wanted to show you the wind gust projections from the American model. You can see that for the central and northern Bahamas, the model projects tropical storm force winds affecting the area this weekend. This is why residents of the Bahamas, especially the central and northern islands, should prepare for the impacts of a tropical storm. Well, that's all for this forecast update. Here at Hurricane Info, I will continue to closely monitor the evolution of both systems and will keep you informed of any changes in the forecast. So, to make sure you don't miss any of the content, I invite you to give a like to this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the notification bell so you'll receive alerts when I record new videos. I hope you all have an excellent day. See you later.